Hey guys, it's Sejal, and today we're cooking a 3-course Thai meal, and I have 2 friends with me. Here we have Anant.
Hi.
And then Aadi.
Hi.
And we're going to be working together to create this meal. They don't cook very much, and I cook a lot, so this is going to be like a fun learning experience for all of us. And we're also going to be doing a second video, which is coming out next week, and they're going to teach me how to play video games, which I know nothing about. So let's start off with our tea. So we're making a Thai tea, and this is my pan. Okay, so now I'm adding in 2 anise stars, 2 cloves, and then 1 thing of cardamom. And then I'm just gonna let this come to a boil, and then we're gonna be adding in our black tea. Okay, so now I'm adding in 3 teaspoons of black tea. We are going to let this boil for 3 minutes and then let it steep for about half an hour once we turn off the gas so that all the flavors nicely combine and the tea has time to cool. Okay, so this is the tea that we were making. I let this steep for about 2 hours. Just straining it into there. I think I added a little too much, but that's okay. And then we're gonna be adding in some milk. And then we're gonna be adding in some sugar later. Preparing the tea, these 2 are cutting up all the vegetables. So we have some green onion, peppers, regular yellow onion, and then 2 to 3 cloves of garlic over here. I'm also going to be mincing some ginger, and all of these vegetables are going to be going into our red curry and the noodles that we're making. So while they keep on cutting, I'm going to be preparing the marinade for some tofu that I have pressing over there. I was pressing the tofu so that all the water and stuff can come out, and you definitely want to do that before you make this, just so after it's finished baking and stuff, it doesn't break apart easily. So definitely press your tofu and get all the water out. Right now we're making the marinade for our tofu satay, and this is going to be our appetizer. So the first thing that we're going to be adding in is a tablespoon of peanut butter. And then we're also adding in, I think this is a tablespoon of brown sugar. And then 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I think I added a little extra, but that's good. And then we're gonna add in a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now we're gonna mix this all up. Switched over to a whisk so that everything can be nicely combined. Anand, come back. Keep on mixing this. You can't run away. Me and Anant are just gonna marinate this. So this is just a little baking sheet that I have over here. Taking a little bit of oil, just brushing it onto the pan so that when we bake, the tofu and stuff doesn't stick. And then Anant's gonna help me here, and we're gonna grab this marinade and just brush it onto the tofu. Okay, so I preheated my oven to 430 degrees. And now I'm gonna be putting my tofu, which is marinated for 20 minutes, into here, and we're gonna let this bake for 25 minutes or until it's golden brown. Okay, so this is our tofu satay, which just baked, and we're gonna be making the sauce for this in a little bit. And then this is the tofu that I baked that we're gonna be adding into our red curry shortly. So I added some canola and sesame to let that heat up. So any normal human being will not understand what I just said, but I said to add in canola and sesame oil. And by the way, we're also making the dip for our tofu satay in this clip. And now we're gonna add in some ginger, garlic, and onion. Now chopping up the onions, so I'm just gonna add in a little bit of our other ingredients. I added in a teaspoon of red curry paste, and you can add in the onion.
All of it?
I think half is fine. Adding our soy sauce. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Mixing all of this in. We're gonna be adding in 1/3 cup. We're gonna be adding 1/3 cup of peanut butter. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix all this in. And I'm thinking, I don't have coconut milk, so I'm thinking that maybe adding a little bit of regular milk and a little bit of water. Now I'm just gonna add in a little bit of milk. We don't have coconut milk, so too bad. So I'm starting off by adding in again, and this is for our red Thai curry, by the way, I didn't say that. But we're gonna be adding in some canola oil and some sesame. Usually whenever I'm making Thai food, I use a mix of these oils. So we just did that. I'm gonna let this heat up a little bit, and then we're going to be adding in our ginger, garlic, and chili. This is our grated ginger, minced garlic, and then I just took some chili and cut it in half. Now we are just going to let this kind of go in the pan for a minute or two before we add in our onion. We're just gonna let these kind of mince and caramelize. I ran out of peppers, and that's usually what I add in here. So I'll see if I can find any other vegetables in the fridge, or else this is about to be a veggie-free curry. Aadi is doing his thing with the onion, but now we're gonna be adding in some carrots and green onions. I managed to find some vegetables, so be happy for me. Just gonna add in a handful of these, and we are just going to let these go on a medium heat until everything is nice and cooked. So now, since all of these veggies are pretty much finished, I'm going to be adding in about a tablespoon of red curry paste.
Adding in the soy sauce.
Now I'm adding in a hefty teaspoon of sriracha.
It looks spicy.
Now, since all these vegetables are nice and prepped, we're going to be adding in our coconut milk. And this is essential to Thai curry. We also made 3 cups of jasmine rice in a rice cooker to eat with this, and I also ended up adding in that tofu that we baked earlier. I just forgot to film it because I'm bad at YouTube. Okay, so I set the water to a boil, and then we're going to be adding in our noodles later. We're back, and my water for my noodles is boiling back there, and we're going to be using these noodles. These are brown rice noodles, and these taste really good. But meanwhile, while that water is boiling, we're going to be preparing our sauce for the noodles. Basically, we're going to prepare our sauce. My mom's making tea in the back, so don't mind her. But we're going to be adding in some soy sauce, and we're going to be adding a tablespoon of this. I'm kind of just eyeballing it, honestly.
Doesn't hurt too
Maybe more. Yeah, it really doesn't hurt. Like when I'm making my noodles and I feel like it's a little dry or it needs a little bit of something, I always end up adding more. Then we're gonna go for sriracha. The recipe that I'm using calls for a bunch of other ingredients, but honestly, I feel like the main things that you need when you're making noodles are sriracha, soy sauce, and some brown sugar. I feel like with that, you can make a really nice like noodle sauce. Aadi's mixing that. That's our sauce for our noodles. And I'm gonna check if my water is boiled yet. This is my water and it's boiled, and I have these brown rice noodles here. Now rice noodles really don't need a lot of time to cook, so I'm just gonna let these boil. I need to open all of them. They're like individually packaged, which is kind of annoying. Okay, so I actually turned off my heat because rice noodles cook differently than regular ones do, and they cook pretty quick. So once your water is boiling, you can turn it off, and then just let the noodles sit in here for 2 to 3 minutes. So the noodles are, I put them off to the side, and they're like doing their own thing. This is my tea back here in case you were wondering. But we are going to turn on the gas, and I'm going to be adding in a teaspoon of canola oil and a teaspoon of sesame. And we're gonna let that heat up for a little bit. First thing I'm gonna do is just slice some chili and put that on here. You don't want your oil to be too hot because otherwise these are gonna fry and they're gonna be like chips instead of like infusing into here. Now I'm going to be adding in some minced ginger, some minced garlic. I'm adding in half of the onion that we cut. Now I'm just gonna let all of this kind of caramelize while we're working on some other things. Okay, so our onions have been caramelizing for a little bit, or like they're turning translucent. So now Aadi's gonna add in the rest of the vegetables. And our green onion and our peppers. Okay. Now stir this. Now since all our vegetables are done, we're going to be adding in the sauce that we made earlier. And this has brown sugar, sriracha, and soy sauce. Now we're going to add in our noodles and mix all of this up. So we just finished making all the food and it turned out really good. We have our noodles, the red Thai curry, and then we just have some white rice to go with that. And then this is our tofu satay with the peanut sauce that we made, and then some of the iced Thai teas that we made. I'm really excited to eat all of this. I'm really hungry, so we're gonna go eat. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Is this crooked?
Cookies. It's been cooking for 23 minutes.
Mom.
Oh, that came. Who's gonna eat this?
How else are gonna eat it?
Who's gonna eat this?
We're making it to not eat.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. No, we need